Hello, Rachel here. Welcome to my SlowTVStitchery. Well, good morning everyone. Let's see where I've got to now. I think I had a wonderful Well, I'll hope that you can't hear that racket outside. I had a wonderful couple of hours, maybe more than that, at the weekend. So I've made quite a lot of progress, I think. It's, of course, in and I could use my magnifier and my light. There are roadworks outside, so there may be a certain amount of noise. I'm hoping they've done all the noisy stuff now. Filament silk sometimes behaves a little bit like flyaway hair. You have no idea how it got where it did, but it makes its presence felt. In the intervals of doing this and painting, I started painting originally because I hoped it would help me to plan my designs a little better. Just being more comfortable with pens and paints helps you to think up what you're doing, and it's very much quicker to try design ideas in pencil than with a needle and thread. Actually, with paint in my case, I don't get along with pencils, but I do with paint. Anyway, in the intervals of painting, which has become something I enjoy doing for itself, and working on this, I'm also trying to organize what has been intended for some years to be my studio, so that it can become my studio. And it's been a little bit knocked off track because since we can't go out to exercise classes and I have a back problem, I have to be able to do my exercises at home. So I can only organize things if I can be absolutely certain that I won't give up halfway through and leave the floor inaccessible for doing my exercises on. But I keep on finding things and looking at them and thinking, now I had an idea for that. But I can't now remember what the idea was, and I wish I'd written it down. So I hereby make a not New Year's resolution. Next time I have a design idea for something, I will write it down somehow and attach it somehow to the materials which I intend for it. Finding 20 meters of curtain lining you have no recollection of buying is inclined to concentrate the mind. Although what on is an interesting question. Beginning to feel I might have to redo Akhenaten's kilt completely. I'm not sure that simply giving him stronger pleats will be sufficient. It's not clear from the steeler how long Nefertiti's gown is. There's a distinct sense of a sash or a belt fall or something that I haven't included because I thought it would make the design too fussy. What works in stone carving, particularly when it has a particular purpose, whatever that may have been, and what works as an embroidery are not necessarily the same things. So nothing that I've done for Amana has been intended to be a copy, even if I've followed a photograph quite closely to make the lines flow in the right direction. In this one, there's, as I said, a belt fall or a sash or something. There's a faint hint that the skirt may in fact go down to her ankles, but also that it's intended to be transparent. And I'm not entirely sure how I would render transparent gauze in Ornue. And besides that, I think it not being transparent will make for a better design. But I still have to find the way of making the whole thing make as much sense as I think it has. So, there was a slight pause there because the bin men came and I couldn't hear myself think, never mind talk. But patience has been rewarded because there's a little more light around. Now, I have suddenly realised, coming to this top border this time, I may have and indeed I have. I need to add stitches at the bottom of each of these. I don't mind about those, but this is becoming a pattern and I need to straighten it. So I think that's better. I might choose to stop the blue there. That's better. I have quite some distance to go before I reach the bottom edge, but that's going to be the next challenge, I think. Although Nefertiti and her daughters are enough to keep me busy at the moment. It's actually difficult sometimes when I'm stitching to be certain that I have the placement right. And sometimes I want to leave stitching for a couple of rows to see if I can get some clarity in my head for the direction that I'm going. But at the same time, it's much easier if you can put it in first time round. Now the challenge here is that even the stele isn't making very much sense. So I think I might have to bring this to the front. I'll add the darker brown stitches when I know where I need to put them. And to be honest, the little girl's arms as well. Daughter number 3 is going to prove particularly challenging. I shall have to find exactly the right light in which to add all the final details here. Because I'm finding sometimes the clear light of an overcast day really helps, but it doesn't take much before it tips over into just fractionally too dark for working anything at all complex. And this definitely comes under the heading of a little bit complex. So I have the photograph of the Stela to hand. And I'm just trying to keep everything straight. That's all for this episode. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed following along. Happy stitching!